Are we like that? And I can't wait till the story happens. Girl forced to either drop her shorts and show all male staff she's a woman, or not be allowed to participate. Mother not informed. Child does it to help the team. Lawsuit pending. We're living in that universe. That's something that is really gonna happen. That's something that's really gonna happen. NANI? Dynamite! Dynamite! All right, clap it. Hey guys, how we doing? My name's Heroes. This is Identity Booth. Let's talk about trans women. I remember like not too long ago, probably like within the last year, I really had to educate myself on the whole trans movement. And I had the very dismissive attitude of, there's not a single trans individual in this world that could beat me in any sport that I play, being football, wrestling, or those are the only two. Maybe shot put. I don't know. I'm not weary of a trans individual entering into my field. Furthermore, I failed to acknowledge the protective bias that I had, which is one, all those sports that I compete in professionally. So there are rules and restrictions that put those things at a hindrance. In high school, there were no restrictions. So I did have to wrestle a woman who was a woman, and she was that way. And I had to wrestle her as a young teenager, and I think that version of me was probably the best version of me, because I proceeded to go out there and in 13 seconds flat, drop her on her neck twice and then pin her. And after the match, she walked up to me. Everybody was approaching thinking like something was going to happen. And she shook my hand and said, "Thanks for not treating me like a girl, but just treating me like an original opponent." And without really understanding the oldness that I paid to her, I said, "No problem." That younger version of me showed a sense of growth and willingness that I don't think this adult version of me has. And I just want to clap that version of me. Not for dropping her on her neck, but just having the wherewithal of understanding that every opponent is a threat to me, and I would eliminate you. If you step on the mat with me, you believe in your mind you can beat me, and that cannot be possible. You cannot have that belief that you can beat me, right? And it was a mode of respect, because I would hate to know the feeling of being toyed with by your opponent. That's not a great feeling. It's not one I choose to ever know of. I play Call of Duty all the time, and I'm horrible at it, and people be no-scope shooting me off of fucking towers. That's a horrible feeling, and that's a video game. So, when this whole trans community question came back up again in the news, people were asking me, "Hero, what do you think about this?" And I just sort of went with the safe answer, which was, well, I don't know if that's fair, because I was sitting here thinking about the women who were being probably having the best times of their lives being taken away from them over an agenda. But in reality, no one wanted to switch their gender just so they could be the best woman swimmer in the country. No one changed their gender so they could become the strongest powerlifting woman only. They did it because they had to go through a lifetime of endeavors and pressures that they felt could only be resolved by identifying themselves as they see fit. And more power to them for that. But the Republican Party had it out for these trans individuals. And they made sure to try and stress the things that would have probably garnered my endorsement if I was a little bit less well-read, which is, think about the women who have trained their whole lives to be the best that they can be, only to be beaten by a trans woman. How is that protecting women? And a younger version of me would have probably been like, yeah, that's right. What about protecting women? But ultimately, the truth always comes out, right? The truth of the agenda of the Republican Party always comes out. Utah schools secretly, okay, if you secretly did something and we found out, you can just put a line through that secretly. You don't have to keep that there because it's no longer secret. Everyone knows. Investigates female student athlete is transgender. A Utah High School Student Association secretly investigated female athlete without telling her or her parents after receiving complaints from parents of two girls she had defeated in a competition suggesting that she was a transgender girl. Salt Lake Tribune reports that the Utah High School Activities Association and the girls' high school determined she is indeed was born a female after pouring through school records dating back to kindergarten. Can you imagine how embarrassing this must be? To be so good at something. And I don't know the race of the girl. I don't know the age of the girl. But to be so good at something that people aren't willing to acknowledge your greatness, that immediately is self-doubt. Like, nah, you can't be that good. Like, you cured cancer. Nah, you're not that smart. You're not that good. Association spokesman David whatever told lawmakers that the girl and her family were told of the investigation to spare them the embarrassment and to keep the matter private. We tried to discriminate against you, but we didn't want to tell everybody, so we're just going to tell you. I'm happy they brought this to the news. But why are we talking about this? Besides the fact that the Utah politicians and Republican Party is disgusting. You know, in the Olympics, they constantly target black athletes, and accuse them of being exactly transgender. And this is what I'm ultimately getting to. Why are we talking about this? Because you best believe if they can do it to one demographic group, they can do it to you. There are tons of black women who are in the Olympics or in the sports world who are women but still cannot participate because their natural chemistry is deemed too potent to perform. There was a cross-country runner who had too much testosterone in her blood on the day of a race, and it's her natural thing, it's her natural body's chemistry. She had documentation from her doctors and everything to prove it, but it wasn't enough for them. They still didn't allow her to run. And you would think, but that's kind of the crazy part, because what if someone made the accusation? What if someone made the accusation in the middle of the day, and they were just like, she's transgender, she can't run, she's transgender. And what are the officials to do? Are the officials going to take her into a bathroom and tell her to drop her pants to confirm? Because that's what it sounds. That's what sounds like is going to happen next. Hey, that girl is too. That's my competition. I don't want her to be focused. I don't want her to be ready. She's transgender, and I don't think it's fair. Okay, ma'am, you've been accused of being trans, like you've been accused of doping. We need you to go into this private room, pull down your pants, and let us see your private genitals. Oh, you're 15? Yeah, maybe we should ask your parents first. What the fuck are we doing? Over a fucking high school kindergarten sport? No. It can't be that fucking serious. It can't be that fucking serious. But the thing that's crazy about this is what they say versus what they do, right? Right? Let's talk about what they do.
In South Dakota, only girls play girls' sports. Why? Because of Governor Kristi Noem's leadership.
South Dakota's Republican governor in a new national ad betting on her 2022 re-election campaign. targeting transgender athletes and promoting a bill banning trans girls from playing sports in school.
Now, Governor Noem has a bill that will give South Dakota the strongest law in the nation protecting female sports.
It's an about-face for the incumbent governor. Back in March, she vetoed a similar bill that would have limited trans girls and women from competing in female sports leagues. She's running on the idea.
And just know, she only did that because she wanted to have the Trump maniacs backing them. A year ago, she vetoed that bill. But she saw the polling and she understands the numbers. She needs those fucking maniacs in order to win again.
Of less government, more freedom,
so she'll sell her soul.
Website, and joins a group of conservative Republican leaders who oppose trans rights.
Athletic teams or sports that are designated for females are open to females, and we're going to go based off biology, not based off ideology.
We all know what an absolute advantage boys would have playing against girls.
In 2021, 35 bills were filed in state legislatures to exclude transgender youth from competing in athletics. Plus, 7 more bills already introduced this year, working to limit trans and non-binary.
So 28 bills to limit the ability for trans individuals to participate in sports. How many bills were signed to guarantee free lunch? There wasn't one signed in Milwaukee. I did a report on that one. There wasn't signed. Like, it's crazy where the priorities are. There are kids who will literally go hungry in these schools, but as long as they're not playing sports against the opposite sex, right? But should we be worried about her? Is there a good likelihood she might win? I mean, it really depends on how you feel about, like, reading into these articles. But there is a part of me that does enjoy knowing she's currently under investigation by the lawmakers for tampering and her craziness being a little bit too crazy. So there's a good chance that she might not make it, and for that we clap it. But ultimately, where I leave you with this on this topic, shut the fuck up. That's it. I don't have it. What are we like that? And I can't wait till the story happens. Girl forced to either drop her shorts and show all male staff she's a woman, or not be allowed to participate. Mother not informed. Child does it to help the team. Lawsuit pending. We're living in that universe. That's something that is really gonna happen. That's something that's really gonna happen.